Well, welcome back to the Ashes debrief. I've got Michael Vaughan and Jason Gillespie alongside me. England 134 for 6. Vaughanie, same old, different day.
Yeah, I mean it's been a hard couple of days for England. First day, we all felt that 335 was pretty good, but yesterday they didn't get it right with the ball. They were poor in the field, and then today Australia have given England a lesson of how, I would say, how to play the pink ball test, because they played for time in the middle session, knowing that they wanted to get that new ball later on in the day. But they've actually given England a lesson of how to play Test cricket, and you could argue white ball cricket, because for a while now England have played poor white ball cricket because they've not been able to play the sensible game at the right time. Their Test game here in Australia, that last day against India at the Oval, they didn't get it quite right with the bat. The problem I have this week is they've added a couple more facets, because the bowling have been nowhere near. They've been nowhere with the ball this week. Tactically, they've not had a great week. Catching, they've not had a great week. And there's only really been Joe Root that stood up with the bat. Australia are a good cricket team, and particularly with the pink ball, they make it very difficult for the opposition to play. But that was really concerning today for England.
Well,
really concerning.
We will get on to Australia because they've been excellent in both Test matches and they've basically won this game already. But England's batting again, Vaughanie. It's just so frustrating to watch.
Well, look, Ben Duckett got a good ball. You can't do too much about a ball that skids along the deck, round the wicket. So you hold your hands up by the bag, go, nothing to do with that. My problem with Ollie Pope and Zach Crawley, and Zach's playing great, but when you're playing great, a 44 and a 76, you've got to get the big hundreds. Because next week he might not be playing great, he might just not have his balance, and he's had his balance this week, and I don't think he's put enough in the tank. He hasn't put enough in the bank. You've got to put a load in the bank for your wet weeks, you know, like when you get a pair. Get a load in your bank. He hasn't done that. And Ollie Pope, I have to say, and I don't know what your like is, I find him the easiest player to commentate on. And you get a load of praise as a pundit because they're, oh, you're ready. So honestly, it's like just reading a book with 2 pages.
Just too predictable.
You just know that dangle the carrot, he's going to throw his hands at the ball. He didn't get many in the first inning, so they come out and be aggressive. They'll pack the offside field, they'll create a gap or two, and he'll keep going, he'll get away with a couple. And guess what? You just can't play that way against quality bowling on a length when it's just doing a little bit. The odd ball's bouncing, the odd ball's keeping line. It is impossible to drive on length. And he's got out, caught and bowled, and Dak does the same. England had to have the perfect last session. Australia bowled nicely, there was a bit in the pitch, but you can't make the mistakes that we continue to see from this batting lineup.
Well, Dizzy, we're going to talk about England's bowling now, because England's bowling meant Australia got exactly what they wanted in this Test match.
Yep, absolutely. I spoke to Michael Nisa after the day's play and asked him the specific question. With the short ball plans that England were employing, was the plan to absorb it? And he said, absolutely. Our plan was as a lower order, we're not going to get suckered in. We're not going to play a shot. We're happy to wear it. We're happy to avoid it. We're a duck, sway out of the way, ride it. We're not going to touch it. We want them out there as long as possible. And I thought that, look, if Australia had their meeting this morning, or at the start, before the start of play, and they wanted an outline of what the perfect day would look like, they just had it.
You'd have been pretty happy at the tail wagging as well, with your famous 200.
Oh, look, absolutely.
Nervous when Starc was going?
Nah, not at all, mate. Nah, 200's a long way away, Virg. But no, he played the situation absolutely perfectly. Mitchell Starc, well supported. Scott Boland, I thought he was excellent. They've just got good defensive techniques, defensive strategies on a surface that wasn't offering a lot with the softer pink ball. It was still bright, still nice weather, nice and sunny. And I thought the Australians just played good, hard Test cricket, adapted and adjusted their game. That is what Test cricket is all about. You adjust to the conditions, you adjust to the situation, you adjust to your opposition, and Australia did it wonderfully well.
England, you've seen them bowl now in a couple of Test matches. Are our bowlers match fit?
Well, they got through some overs, and
Are they match fit, Des? Would you have liked to have bowled more in the middle in game situation coming into a huge Ashes series?
I'm always a big believer in match overs. I was fortunate enough to go down to the PM's 11 in Canberra. I saw Matthew Potts get through 20 odd sets of overs in a centre wicket match, and Josh Tongue bowled with real airspeed. He was nudging 90 mile an hour consistently. It's hard to replicate match overs in the nets.
So, Vaughan, England, obviously, they have this mantra about how they're going to play cricket. Is boring old Test cricket just good to watch? Because Australia, they were on the counter-attack at some stages, but they played the perfect day today with the bat and with the ball, really.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll criticise England, but I love watching them because they bring a huge amount of entertainment, but I just now want to see them win. And my frustration is that I believe that this England side down in Australia has got all the tools. I've been saying it for weeks. They've got everything required to be successful. There's two things that I don't think they've got right, and I'll keep going on. They haven't got preparation right, and if you keep telling me they have not got preparation right. And the other thing is they're just not playing the situation correctly against this kind of Australian side. And if you continuously just play the game that Australia know that you're going to play, you become quite an easy team to play against. And I think Australia sit in that dressing room and go, we know exactly what to do here. Exactly a few boundaries, and then we'll put cover point on the boundary. We'll put an extra cover mid on, mid off, mid on. We'll put square leg back, and we'll just ball outside off, outside off. We know he's going to keep driving. We think he'll make a mistake.
Do you think England then are then too stubborn with the way they're going about playing?
Well, I've never seen great sporting teams just play one way, and that's across all sports. I've never witnessed it. This England side try and play this expansive game. The real frustration for me is against India in the summer they didn't, and against Bumrah they didn't, and we keep going on about it. For some reason here against Mitchell Starc, who's now got 18 wickets at nothing, they continuously keep playing that big drive through the offside. I'm going, why don't you just leave? I know he's a skillful bowler, he's got that ball that comes back and that ball that's going away, hard to pick up, but if you keep throwing your hands at wide deliveries to a left arm angled over, don't be surprised if the ball goes to the cordon behind.
Don't be shocked. No.
Don't be shocked.
Don't be shocked.
Mitchell Starc, 18 wickets, like you just said. Dizzy, there's been a lot of talk on how good he is with the pink ball, but let's be realistic, he's just a really good Test bowler.
Yeah, he's now the best left armer in history, or most wickets, passing the great Wasim Akram. Wasim Akram struck a wicket every 54 balls. Mitchell Starc, wicket every 47 balls. Yeah. That's absolutely elite. He's wonderful. He's added things. He's 35 years of age. We interviewed him for our Fast Bowling Cartel podcast, and he talked about, we asked him about the wobble seam delivery, and what he's worked on has been his alignment, staying tall at the crease, because he had a tendency when he wasn't trying to swing the ball back into the right-handers, he'd fall away at front foot contact to ball release. He'd fall away and he'd push it across. Whereas now he's staying more upright, he's keeping his alignment as so, and he's learnt from some of the great English bowlers, the Stuart Broads and Jimmy Andersons, who the masters of the wobble seam, and he's using that as almost his stop ball
now. He's just brought that into his game now, hasn't he?
He has, and I mean, as a 35-year-old, continually evolving and learning his game, and he's using that predominantly as his stock ball, and using the big in-swinger as a surprise weapon.
Well, I think what surprised me in the last two tests that we've seen is he's not really swinging the ball, but he is getting that wobble ball to go. So.
Very clever. As a right-hander, the wobble ball's going across, you have to kind of get over to cover that kind of movement away. You've got to leave the ball really well, and you've got to play the ball under your eye line. But by going across to cover yourself for that one, that whip back in-swinger is a real threat. We haven't seen massive hooping deliveries. No. He hasn't got many of his wickets with that ball back into the right-hander. Primarily it's been across, and with a little bit of help from the big drive.
Well, also, actually, those flashing ones outside the off stump giving him a few freebies. Australia, Dizzy, they're missing a lot of bowlers, over 1,000 wickets.
Yep.
That's got to be a little bit frightening for England, hasn't it? When you bring back Cummins, you bring back Lyon, if Hazelwood's fit. Yeah,
absolutely. Cummins will come back next Test match. Hazelwood, it looks like he's got a little bit of an issue with his Achilles as well, so he might be a little bit longer. Nathan Lyon will play, so they'll get back 800 or so wickets of experience, which is not too bad. I still maintain, regardless of the result here, I maintain Australia missed a trick by not playing Nathan Lyon. 3 millimetres of grass, good overheads. He should have been playing. But
they're about to hammer England, so they've got selection right.
Well, you can argue that, absolutely, but I'd still maintain Nathan Lyon.
I reckon if Nathan Lyon had played, England might have lasted a bit longer.
It's the hope that kills you, though,
You're being kind.
What is the most disappointing thing for you, Vaughan, watching this team? When you say you know they've got so much talent, Yet it seems to be the same problems time and time again.
Yeah, look, there's quite a lot of inexperience playing in Australia, so I really worry for some of the players because it's not easy here. The pressure, look at us, we're talking about them once again, and it's not easy to deal with that. You look at Ben Duckett at the top of the order. For the first time I'm watching Ben, he just doesn't look like he's in that kind of rhythm and flow. Ollie Pope, you know, he's got a problem.
Yeah.
You know, he's had a problem for quite a while, but he kept on getting a score and then he stays in the side.
What is the problem?
I think his technique's really vulnerable. It's the technique. I thought at Perth he technically played really nicely, and he has to make a decision to either stay upright and just play straight and leave outside his right eye. If he goes challenging that channel, he's going to be vulnerable to the straight ball. He can't do both. I don't think he's good enough to be able to do both, but he can stay upright on the stumps, wait for the flicks off the hip, waits for the square cut, wait for one right under his eye line, as he did in that first inning in Perth. If he goes chasing this channel out here, he's going to be so inconsistent. And then look at Harry Brook, got a good one today, but what's going through his mind? He's a talking point. Jamie Smith, wicketkeeper bat, outstanding he's been, but in the last few test matches, his scores are just getting worse and worse and worse, and his keeping's not been great this week. And let's be honest, the bowling attack this week, apart from the odd burst from Josper, the odd burst from Gus, and the odd burst from Ben, it looks like it was quite nice to face, and that's a real worry for the team.
So there's been a lot of talk, Dizzy, on how Australia is such a tough place to play and a tough place to win as a touring side. Why? Why is it such a tough place to come and win games of cricket?
Well, the conditions are different. There's more bounce. Just on your point, Vaughnie, about Ollie Pope, he should look at some footage of the great Sachin Tendulkar from 20 odd years ago. He shelved any shot through the offside in front of point off the front foot.
Sydney, he got a double.
Sydney, and he got a double 100.
Yeah.
He batted beautifully, and he just shelved
It takes a special player to get a double 100 as well.
Yeah.
doesn't
It does
It's not
take special
easy.
players to get double hundreds, of course, but I think there's a real lesson there for not just Ollie Pope, but probably the England batting order. We saw Zach Crawley adapt his game from Perth. He came out in the first innings. I thought he batted beautifully.
But I think is the problem within this team now, because of the way that they've played, is like all the players have kind of built it into their brains and their system, trained the brain that the way that they're going to play is to attack. You know, I think they're going to find it really hard to suddenly go, I'm going to play further off stump, I'm going to leave out there, I'm going to just wait.
Well, the only player that's shown they can do that is Root.
Yeah, it's not the style.
He still attacks though.
Yeah, at the right time, to the right balls, because he's a great player. Some of the others, they're not great players. So when you're not a great player, guess what? You're going to have to work that little bit harder, and you're going to have to make the bowlers think a little bit more, because you know, if you just keep chasing and you keep dashing, you know as a bowler, if you think that an Ollie Pope's just going to chase that channel, you're just going to keep going, there you go.
Absolutely.
Well, it felt like that was Starc's plan today as well. He'd go straight and then go, okay, 1 in the channel, 2 in the channel, 3 in the channel. So it just becomes a little bit.
And I think he's a better player than that. I think, and I've seen him. We saw him got a great 100 at Headingley against Jasprit Bumrah. He can play, but he can't keep thinking he can play that aggressive game all the time. He'll be inconsistent.
Well, it feels like it's all been a little bit doom and gloom yet again for England. Vaughnie, you've got a highlight of the day today.
Yeah, great. Rogan Josh at lunch.
Was it nice?
Oh, magnificent! Yeah, it really was, mate. It's not been a great day, has it?
No, I had the pasta meatballs. They were a bit disappointing.
Well, they were
like
cold.
England, really.
They were cold. The meatballs were cold. The Rogan Josh, absolutely spot on.
Putting you on the spot, have you got a highlight of the day so far?
I just love the overall, from an Australian perspective, they pivoted. They adjusted and adapted their game to the situation, and situational awareness is what Test cricket is about. That's what good teams do. That's what consistent teams do. And I think I agree with Vaughnie when he said in the opener that it taught England how to play Test cricket.
Right, I've got 2 more things for you, so don't go anywhere just yet. Vaughnie, can England come back in this series? It's not if, it's when they go 2-0 down.
No, I thought it was going to be 2-2. I hate to say it, if England aren't careful, and they're going to have to improve hugely, this could be 5-0. Yeah. It's happened in recent times. It happened in 6-7. It was 4-0 last time. There was 5-0 a couple of times before that. I haven't seen enough from England in the first 2 games to suggest that they can win a game yet. They're a good set of players, and it is possible, but if they don't improve quickly, this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
And if they go 5-0 down, things have to change at the top, right, don't they? Things always change.
Yeah, that's a consequence of non-performance, and you see it. Ashes tours define teams, so yeah, there's every chance that will happen.
Right, don't forget, this is the part where you guys can get involved. This is where you ask me anything. I reckon scan the QR code that's on your screen now. John's been in touch with quite a harsh question here, but why did England pick a keeper who doesn't keep for his county and a spinner with no club?
Is that Jonathan Agnew that's asked that question?
Could well be, it could well be. It was John from Derbyshire.
Well, I think, look, let's be fair to Jamie Smith. He's been fantastic for England. He's just having one of those spells. He's the youngest player. He's not played a great deal of Test matches. He's just having one of those little periods that you have to go through. I like him as a cricketer, so I'm not so concerned about the keeper. I do have a concern about, Shoaib Bashir and how much they've backed him in the last few years, and he's done well for England, and then suddenly he's been back for Australia and suddenly we haven't seen him. So surely he plays at Adelaide. That's the reason why they bought him all this time for 3 or 4 years for this trip. Look, there's a lot that you could talk about the selection of many of the things that England have done. I think they got selection right for the 11 in Perth. They got selection right here. They've just not played well enough.
Well, thank you, Vaughnie. Dizzy, congratulations on going 2-0 up.
Can I just say something? Next week, I think England are going to Noosa on
they
holiday. I'm going to give them this. It's a caution, drone operation in progress. There is a great chance, if they're going to be lying on a beach playing golf, drinking a little bit of the drones might be after them. So they might be as well to take this sign with them.
Well,
just
maybe you should pass it down
I'm
to them
going to just put it on the team corridor just to remind them that the drones might be out snapping away of what they're doing. You go 2-0 down in Australia and you go and sit on the beach without thinking that you might just go and play a bit of cricket.
It's a fair point.
There'll be a few cameras on them.
Well, thank you very much both for joining us. Don't forget the highlights or the lowlights, depending on what you want to watch, are on at 5 p.m. on the iPlayer, and we'll be back debriefing the Ashes Test tomorrow.